Hello everyone. Welcome to our April month meetup. For those of you who already joined our previous month's talk, welcome back. And for those who are new here, I'd like to welcome you all to our community. We are called Automation Advocates, and let me share you the link so you can access the Discord. The Automation Advocates is actually a community powered by Ask UI. You can find the Discord link on the chat. And feel free to join the Discord channel. A server. We talk about all things UI, all things testing, and anything that in general we want to gain knowledge about. So it's a free community. Feel free to join in, make friends, chat about what you're feeling, and we'll be there. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that this meeting will be recording, and you can turn on or off your camera based on your interest, and this will be uploaded on our YouTube channel called Ask UI. So today's topic, as you all know already, is revolutionizing testing with ChatGPT and AI, a paradigm shift. And we have with us Siddhant. Hi, Siddhant.
Yeah.
Siddhant currently works as an SDT manager at Newfold Digital, responsible for managing SDTs across multiple teams within the APAC engineering division, with a primary focus on test execution and automation excellence. Now I will let Siddhant take over from here, please.
Thank you so much, Apurva, for the brief introduction. Hello, everyone. So it gives me immense pleasure that we can connect and share this time together virtually from across different locations and time zones. Although I'd really love to have had the session in person, as it would have allowed us to connect on a more personal level and also build more meaningful interactions. But given the current circumstances, I'm grateful to Ask UI, to Apurva, and Automation Advocates, of course, to give me this opportunity to connect with you all. So, despite the distance between us, I believe that we can still have a very productive and engaging session while I share my knowledge and insights on this topic at hand. So, thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to our discussion. So, as most of you might know me already or heard about me right now, my name is Siddhant Wadhwani. And as part of today's session, I'll be talking about revolutionizing testing with ChatGPT and AI, a paradigm shift. Yes, I know this is definitely a hot trending topic to learn and discuss about. And I'm sure most of you are extremely curious, while at the same time might have tons of facts or thoughts to share based on your experiences. So before we dive into further details, just quick brief about me. So like Apurva already introduced, I'm an SDET manager at Newfold Digital. I'm managing a team of SDETs across over 10 projects within the APAC engineering department. And I'm a versatile self-directed leader with nearly 8 years of experience in the IT industry. Based out of Mumbai, I have been a key speaker at various conferences and was recently recognized as a browser stack champion too. In my spare time, I love attending various conferences as well as traveling to unseen destinations. I just noticed someone asked me, rather asked in the group, what is SDET? So it's basically software development engineer in test, a mixture of developers with a testing mindset. So you can definitely Google about it. But yeah. So don't forget to follow me on my social media handles. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn with nearly of 10,000 followers. So yeah. And that's about me. If you wish to know more, you can obviously visit my website or just simply Google my name. But without further ado, let's see what I have as part of today's agenda. So the first thing we'll cover is the introduction, of course, importance of software testing and the challenges we face. Then we deep dive into ChatGPT. GPT-4, as most of you know, has recently been released, and also a bit of AI and how it contributes overall in the testing domain. Then we look into certain applications of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence in testing, deep dive into the real world examples and see how a lot of organizations are coping with ChatGPT and AI in the testing domain. How is it basically integrated within the testing workflow. Then we look into the future of testing with ChatGPT and AI. And finally, I'll leave you all with some key takeaways and then open the forum for Q&A. So let me start with a quote by one of our amazing visionary, Steve Jobs. He says, technology is nothing. What's important is that you have a faith in people, that they are basically good and smart. And if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. Now, you might wonder how this quote is relevant to our topic of revolutionizing testing with ChatGPT and AI. Well, it emphasizes the importance of people as the driving force behind innovation and the role of technology as a tool to help people achieve greater things. This concept emphasizes that while these technologies are powerful tools, they are only as effective as the people using them. So, in the context of testing, ChatGPT and AI can help testers identify defects earlier, improve the testing coverage, and ultimately help deliver high quality softwares on a much faster scale. However, it is up to the people behind the technology to use it in the most effective way possible. Testers must have the knowledge, the skills, and the expertise to understand how to use ChatGPT and AI to their fullest potential and to leverage them in ways that drive innovation and improve the overall testing process. This quote also highlights the fact that a lot of people have faith in their abilities. So, with the right tools and support, people can achieve incredible things and drive significant advancements in their field. Moreover, by embracing ChatGPT and AI, testers can tap into their innate abilities and work smarter, faster, and more efficiently. It is this faith in people that will ultimately drive the paradigm shift in testing and enable us to achieve even greater things in the future. So that's basically why I've put up this quote by Steve Jobs. So moving on to the introduction piece. Firstly, talking about ChatGPT, it would be a gross understatement to say that the debut of ChatGPT on 30th of November 2022 did not create a stir in the digital realm. Within a mere 7 days time frame of its initial release, the platform gathered a whopping 1 million users, which is basically an astronomical number that grew exponentially to a staggering 100 million users by the dawn of January 2023. And now, in March, we have GPT-4 that has been released. So you can see the advancements that are going along with time. Bard has taken over. It's currently in the experimental state, but yeah, that too has been introduced by Microsoft. So while there may be fervent supporters and unrelenting naysayers, one cannot deny that the advent of ChatGPT has opened up exciting opportunities and avenues for innovation and transformation across a multitude of industries. Software testing continues to remain a critical aspect of software development that ensures the quality, reliability, and functionality of software applications. And as most of you know, in the era of digital transformation, software is playing an increasingly important role in our daily lives. From apps to smartphones to software that powers cars and homes, imagine a world with ChatGPT involved everywhere. Moreover, effective software testing is essential to ensure that these applications continue to meet the needs and expectations of users and that they are reliable and secure. When we talk about certain challenges that testers and QA teams face in the traditional testing methods, we have noticed that there's always been a time and resource constraint. I think that's the number one point most of you would also agree with me on. So, with traditional testing methods, testers are often constrained by tight deadlines, which mostly comes through business requirements and limited resources, which can always impact the thoroughness and effectiveness of testing. Moreover, there's always lack of test coverage. So, if you notice the traditional testing methods, they generally also result in limited test coverage, which becomes difficult to test all the possible scenarios and use cases. Um, Not mentioning about the edge cases, of course. Moreover, there's inconsistent results, and then it's also difficult at times to reproduce defects. You need to go back to the developers and try to take their help to reproduce certain defects, but um, it's always a difficult time. So, to avoid all these challenges, ChatGPT and AI have proved and are proving to be very very beneficial. At the same time, it will definitely help revolutionize the testing landscape and make sure that it enables testers to work smarter, faster, and efficiently. And that's what we'll see across this course. So the next slide, I talk about the evolution of software testing. I won't deep dive into this too much because our main agenda is to understand more about ChatGPT and AI into testing. So just a quick brief. As we all know, software testing has already been around for decades, dating back to the early days of computing when programmers manually tested their code for errors and bugs. Software became more complex, and the demand for high quality applications also continuously grew. This led to the need for more rigorous and systematic testing methods, which became apparent. There was automation testing, and then over time, we evolved to adapt to more cognitive approaches rather than focusing on the reactive and more proactive ones. So there was this phase of digital transformation, as most of you have heard, where the increasing complexity of software applications with traditional testing methods were no longer sufficient to meet the demanding needs of modern software development, where you had microservices coming in and micro frontends. So this led to the emergence of new technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning that now can be leveraged to transform the way we approach software testing. And these technologies can help us identify defects, improve the test coverage, and ultimately deliver the high quality softwares at a faster scale. So, understanding a brief overview of ChatGPT and AI technologies, uh, the figure on the left, you can see that's basically your chat.openai.com/chat. That's how you visit the ChatGPT, and you can see I've put in certain inputs where I'm trying to search for writing 10 attention grabbing titles for a blog post introducing ChatGPT. So this is just one example. Again, this is more of a large multi-dimensional model, you can say, which has been introduced. Now, most of you might think, what is ChatGPT? Why is it GPT? So GPT basically stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It is more on the conversational AI bot kind of a technology, which basically focuses on large language model, which is LLM neural networks. So those who are familiar with AI and stuff, they'll understand what neural networks are. I'll not deep dive into that, but if needed, we can always cover that towards the end. So ChatGPT is an AI-based language model which is developed by OpenAI that is capable of generating human-like text responses in uh, in in correspondence to natural language inputs using deep learning. GPT-4, like we discussed, is basically the latest and greatest iteration of the GPT language model series, which has already demonstrated remarkable capabilities in areas such as language translation, summarization, and more. And you must have also heard about the latest features where it's having media integrations and various other stuff. Of course, it's right now coupled with the ChatGPT Plus, which is a paid software right now, but you can always have a try out and explore those features. So it is expected that GPT-4 will further advance the state of the art in natural language processing, that's NLP, and it may even surpass the capabilities of its predecessor. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's been there for almost decades again. So it is a much broader field that basically encompasses a much wide range of technologies and techniques. At its core, AI is all about creating machines that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as recognizing certain patterns or making predictions, and even understanding natural languages. And based on those training sets or those training models, it keeps improving itself, and that's how even ChatGPT basically functions. So I think we've deep dived a bit into the overview of ChatGPT. Now let's look at how each of these can help transform testing. So as you can see, ChatGPT and AI have the potential to revolutionize the testing landscape, like we discussed earlier, in various factors, detecting defects earlier, improving the test coverage, and delivering high quality softwares in a much agile manner. So, with the help of ChatGPT and AI, testers can automate most of the repetitive and mundane tasks, leaving more time for exploratory testing and critical thinking, which I think is most important. ChatGPT and AI can also help to reduce human error and bias, resulting in more accurate and reliable test results. Moreover, by leveraging the power of NLP and machine learning, ChatGPT and AI can analyze vast amounts of data and identify patterns that would be difficult for, or rather impossible for humans to detect. And these advanced technologies can also help uncover certain defects that would otherwise go unnoticed, leading to a more robust and you can say comprehensive testing process. So, if we had to talk about certain benefits that these technologies had to provide in terms of software testing, um, the very first thing that comes to mind is increase in productivity or efficiency. So when you have ChatGPT and AI technologies, they can automate most of the repetitive and time consuming tasks, right? And you can use it for test case creation, execution, and various analysis, which we'll obviously go through during the entire session. But this is just in brief. At a higher level, you can talk about testing strategies, development, and exploratory testing. That's where most of the testers can focus upon. Second benefit that I can think of is improving the accuracy. So when you have AI technologies which have already a lot of pre-trained data fed to it, you'll definitely be able to identify defects earlier and at a much better accuracy than the human brain can think of, because obviously your human brain thinks in multiple directions. It is one of the strongest machines, but with the benefit of ChatGPT and AI, you can um, keep improving the accuracy to a greater extent. Third, I can think of is enhancing the test coverage. So when you have again AI technologies, you can identify edge cases and scenarios that might be simply missed because of manual testing. So if you don't document those specific flows or you miss out certain edge cases, definitely you have some assistive technologies that can help in those regards. Next is faster time to market. So if you have business deadlines and stuff, you can definitely leverage these technologies, which can help reduce the overall time it takes to release these high quality softwares to the market. And overall, it will help companies also stay competitive and meet the customers' demands faster than their competitors. Last point that I can think of is more effective defect detection. So, like I already mentioned earlier, defects can go unnoticed with the help of a more robust and effective testing process in place, and that is where ChatGPT and AI step in. So most of you might think, what is the exact difference between ChatGPT and GPT-4? I'm sure most of you must have read it earlier, but just a quick brief difference between I have created. So when we talk about ChatGPT, it is more of a generative text model which specializes in dialogue conversations. Whereas when we talk about GPT-4, it is a multi-model accepting image and text input and generating text outputs. So you must have seen, I mean, those of you who must have used GPT-4, you get a lot of media integrations with Bard. You must have seen there's speech to text as well. Um, right now, it's enabled only for the US and UK folks. So you can obviously just visit the bard.google.com website and subscribe for it to get hands on over there. When we talk about training methods, you have it's pretty much the same. You have additional adversarial training on GPT-4 side. When we talk about the availability, it is obviously ChatGPT is free. Most of you must have tried that out, I'm sure. But when we talk about GPT-4, right now it's available only through ChatGPT Plus, And for APIs, so this place it says not yet available. Well, there's a way that you can get yourself added to the wait list, and once that gets approved, you will be able to try out those APIs as well. So this is just a quick difference between both of these, and over time we know that um, technologies keep improving. So you may see a GPT-5 and so on, which may make testing even simpler. Talking about applications of ChatGPT and AI in testing. So like I mentioned earlier, there are various areas like test case generation, test data management, test execution and result analysis, defect detection and prevention, and even performance testing, usability testing, and various others. But I have just broadly categorized this into three main aspects. That is automated test case generation. So when we talk about AI algorithms, they can be used to generate test cases automatically based on various inputs such as user stories, requirements, or code changes. And this can help improve the efficiency and coverage of testing. When we talk about test data management in that same regard, it can be used to generate test data automatically, reducing the time and effort required to create realistic test data sets. Now, these three portions I have covered in the form of small GIFs or small recordings, which I'll show you across the next slides. But this is just a quick summary on what exactly ChatGPT and AI can offer in terms of these fields. So, moving on to test execution and result analysis, we have various AI based tools that have been introduced that can be used to automate the test execution in at whole, and that allows for faster and more accurate testing. Again, I have covered a lot of tools that can be used, so we'll see across the coming slides. Moving on to defect detection and prevention. I think this is pretty self-explanatory, so I'll not deep dive into it. It's again better to analyze the test results and identify the defects at a much better scale, potentially which reduces the time it takes to find and fix defects. And lastly, let me talk about performance testing and usability testing also. So when we talk about performance testing, there are AI algorithms that can be used to simulate different load scenarios and also identify performance issues before they occur in production. Whereas when we talk about usability testing, which a lot of stakeholders also want, there are chatbots and virtual assistants that can be used to simulate user interactions and also provide continuous feedback on the usability of a product. So overall, ChatGPT and AI have the potential to revolutionize testing, and this is mainly through automating the repetitive task, improving the accuracy, and enabling testers to focus on more complex and challenging aspects. So now looking into the first piece, which is automated test case generation. So while you all are watching this recording, which I have considered one of the examples where I'm asking ChatGPT to create a script for me, I'll just walk you through what automated test case generation basically means. It refers to the process of automatically creating the test cases for a given software application or system. It can be time consuming and labor intensive, especially for large and complex systems. But with the help of ChatGPT and AI, that's where the benefit comes. So this entire process can be streamlined and made more efficient. So like you can see, at a certain point, it stopped giving answers because we know there's a 60-second timeout period. So I've just typed a quick continue, and it basically understands where it exactly stopped, and with the same context, it is able to give me more data. Now, if you see, next command I'm giving it is, can we optimize the code further? It understands what response it had generated, and it's trying to improvise on the same. So here you can see that it can be used to analyze existing code and identify potential areas of risk or vulnerability. Moreover, it can handle cases like error handling, exception handling, which may be forgotten in the initial coding. And it can also help improve the test coverage, reduce the risk of human error. So in short, I'd say by leveraging ChatGPT and AI, testers can create a more comprehensive and reliable set of test cases in a much lesser time, freeing up the resources for more important tasks. Next, looking into test execution and result analysis. So, okay, can we take questions? I see your hand raised.
Sure, Siddhant, if you want to take it right now, you can.
Yeah, we can. Sure, Dev, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Right. So I was experimenting with generating unit test cases, and I had really big problems with ChatGPT and GPT-4 hallucinating. So have you tried executing your code? Did it work from your last video?
Yes. So this code worked pretty well, but like you mentioned about unit testing, I will cover. There are certain challenges with ChatGPT as well, which I'll cover in the coming slides. So that
Okay,
there we'll
great.
understand why it is not able to understand the entire context, which possible areas it is still to improve upon and stuff. So I think I'll cover it then, and then maybe we'll just revisit your question as well. Right?
Thanks.
Yeah, most welcome. Cool. So just proceeding with this, I think I'll have to just replay the video. Let me just try this. Just give me a second. Yeah. So talking about test execution and result analysis, it basically refers to the process of running test cases and analyzing the results to determine whether the software application or um, system is functioning as expected. This process can also be time consuming and challenging, and that's where ChatGPT and AI can help improve the efficiency and accuracy. So in this case, you can see I've given it a scenario where I'm basically assuming I'm testing a banking application, and it needs to come up with some amount of data that I would look for in order to test this more effectively. So that's where ChatGPT has come up with those particular scenarios, and that's what we can leverage when we create RTMs and map the respective test cases and think at a broader level. So when we talk about ChatGPT and AI, it can help automate the process of test execution and result analysis. And like we also said, the major benefit is it frees up resources for the important task, improves the overall efficiency, and also reduces the time it takes to complete the entire testing process. While we talk about defect prediction and prevention, it refers to the process of identifying potential defects or issues in a software application or system before they occur. So before you deploy your changes to production, you obviously want to catch those earlier so that you don't end up delivering a low impactful or low quality software to your customers. So that's where again ChatGPT and AI can be used to streamline the entire process and make it more efficient. Now, it can be used to analyze existing code and also identify potential areas of risk or vulnerability. So, in this case, you can see I have already given it a piece of code and told it that there are issues within this. What will be the most optimal way to rewrite the code? So, if you see some of the suggestions it has given, it does identify certain defects in the Java code. It says you have used if else statements, which is not ideal. You should have a switch case and various other stuff it has written. So again, the more you train it, the more accurate data it will be able to give you, the more apt results it provides, and that's what basically helps to improve the quality of the software application, reduce the risk of downtimes or other negative consequences. So that's how testers can streamline the entire process and make the entire testing process more efficient. Moving on to some of the real world examples. So most of you all have already heard about these companies. I don't need to deep dive into that. So Meta, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Apple, and LinkedIn, right? So Google, if we talk about, it has been using AI and machine learning in their testing process for many years. Their AI powered testing tool called Test Analytics has helped reduce the time and resources required for testing by up to 10%. It has also helped identify test cases that are no longer necessary, and that has helped reduce the number of tests required by up to 25%. When we talk about Amazon, Amazon's AI powered testing tool called Provar has helped reduce the time and resources required for testing by up to 90%. It has also improved test coverage by identifying test cases that were previously missed and generating new test cases based on the user's behavior. When we talk about Netflix, it has implemented AI and machine learning in their testing process to improve their recommendation algorithm. So most of you, I'm sure, would have used Netflix, and it suggests a lot of um, movies or series that you should watch, like the top 10 recommended series for this week or something. So in that particular functionality, it has basically improved the accuracy by up to 15%. When we talk about Meta, which was formerly Facebook, its AI testing tool called Sapiens has helped reduce the time and resources taken by up to 500%. It has also improved the accuracy of testing by identifying defects that were previously missed and generating new test cases based on the changes in the code. And talking about Apple, by using AI to test the performance of potential issues before they reach the market, the number of bugs that were reduced by using AI reduced by up to 50%. On the other hand, when we have LinkedIn, its AI powered testing tool called Flashlight, that helped reduce the time and resources required for testing by up to 70%. So, seeing all these data, I would say, and especially about GPT-4 that released in March. So, as of April 2023, we know that GPT-4 has just been released, and it may still take some time before it is widely adopted in industry. So it's worth noting that GPT-4 is very powerful and sophisticated language model, and it may require a lot of computational resources. So those of you who have already tried working with ChatGPT, you might have faced certain issues like there are times where it just simply disconnects and you need to refresh the browser in order to reload. It may not store your previous context or previous results for at least for the current state that you were working on. There are times where your previous chats with ChatGPT get lost, and it says you need to retry or come back later. So there are various cases that or various issues you may face while using ChatGPT, which is still being worked upon. And I'm sure every technology has its pros, it has its cons, but over time they are always evolving. So some of the potential applications where I see GPT-4 can be used in the industry basically include, I will be covering the test tools. Just give me some more time. So it's basically important to note that the adoption of GPT-4 in industry may be influenced by a range of factors. They could include the availability of skilled resources, the cost that is associated with implementing and maintaining GPT-4, and again, specific needs and requirements of each organization. It is difficult to say which companies are using GPT-4 in their testing process because this information is obviously not publicly available given that GPT-4 is just released. But it's likely that organizations in fields such as software development, artificial intelligence, and NLP will be among the first to adopt GPT-4 in their testing processes, given its potential to revolutionize these fields. So, talking about ChatGPT and AI, how is it integrated into the testing process? Well, I have covered various scenarios, right from talking about agile DevOps methodologies to having testing as a service to cloud testing and various other processes. So I'll just quickly deep dive into that. Then we look into benefits and challenges, tools. I'll suggest post that, and then we'll see the future of testing with ChatGPT. So um, I'm sure most of you are already familiar with the terms agile and DevOps. They are two methodologies that have gained a lot of popularity in recent years due to their ability to enable faster software development and delivery. And most businesses that are in this era of digital transformation are already focused on agile deliveries. So they share the common goal of enabling faster and more efficient software development and delivering features to customers at a much faster scale. Now, this is when we talk about agile, it is an iterative approach to software development, and it basically emphasizes on continuous feedback and collaboration between cross-functional teams. So it generally doesn't want testing to be done in silo departments, rather everyone to be involved throughout the cycle. So when we look at ChatGPT and AI, how can it support agile and DevOps? Well, there are various ways. The first one being it can be used to automate the testing process, like we saw, generating test cases and scenarios based on user inputs or previous testing results, and also reduce the risk of errors. Second, as we know, AI works on the basis of identifying patterns or anomalies that might be missed. So in case of manual testing, it can also help identify defect earlier within the software development lifecycle and enable faster resolutions for the same. Lastly, it can also be used to support continuous integration and continuous delivery, that's CI/CD, by automating the build and deployment process, quality and performance of software being developed. Talking about testing as a service, it is a cloud-based solution that provides on-demand testing services to clients. It allows clients to outsource their testing needs to a third-party provider who offers a range of testing services, you can say, which includes functional testing, performance testing, security testing, and various others. TAS can also help organizations reduce their testing cost, improve the overall efficiency, and also increase the testing coverage. And when we talk about ChatGPT and AI, they are the means that provide intelligent testing solutions that can automate testing tasks, improve accuracy, and also reduce the overall testing time. Talking about testing in the cloud. So this is the process where testing is done on a cloud-based infrastructure rather than the traditional on-premise hardware. There are cloud-based testing providers, or you can say solutions, which are much flexible, scalable, and cost-effective. And with ChatGPT and AI, this kind of testing can be further enhanced to improve the overall accuracy and efficiency. So when we talk about ChatGPT, testers can use natural language to create the test cases, make the process more efficient, and also reduce the likelihood of errors. Moreover, talking about continuous testing, as most of us know, it is the practice of testing throughout the software development lifecycle, right from shifting left to shifting right. So shifting left means you're obviously testing much earlier within the software development lifecycle and delivering much faster to your customers. So that's the basic idea behind shifting left and shifting right. This basic approach enables defects to be identified at a much faster scale rather than them being introduced or caught on the production environment. So when we talk about ChatGPT and AI, they can be used to generate those test cases earlier, analyze the test results, and on the basis of that, it will help continuously improve the quality of the test. For manual testers or for test management, I would say it can be used to improve test management in several ways, such as regression testing. So where most of the repetitive tasks, such as regression testing, of course, can be automated. You can say infrastructure automation can be a part of this as well. And you can also say that it can be used to predict the likelihood of defects which would most probably occur in the future, and also proactively address defects and potential issues before they become critical. How are they used in test automation frameworks? Well, there are multiple tools which I'll cover on the next slide. Um, I know most of you all are patiently waiting for that, but just a quick summary on how ChatGPT and AI can be used in test automation frameworks. So testers can generate code snippets like you saw in the previous GIF or the recording that I shared. You can automate the test scripts, you can identify defects, you can focus more on testing and less on manual coding tasks. So here I have put up two tools which I'm suggesting, which is GitHub Copilot. It is not free, of course, but there is a trial version which can be tried out. You can always go ahead and integrate it with IntelliJ or any specific IDE that you're working on, and you can try out a lot of benefits. So if you have written a certain piece of code where maybe you're adding a product to a cart, and you just hit the enter button on the IntelliJ ID and use GitHub Copilot, it will automatically suggest a few more scenarios and write the code for you. So if suppose you have already covered add to cart, it may already generate remove to cart and various other functionalities as well. And at the same time, there could be like Dave or someone else mentioned earlier, there could be certain challenges with unit testing and all that he has faced as well. So there are AI works basically on the basis of training data. So um, in my personal experience, I faced that there were certain issues where it was trying to match based on the locators I specified for add to cart, so it generated automatically for remove to cart, but they may not be as accurate or as reliable that we may be needing to work on. So that's something that we need to always tweak, and there will always be a part where human intervention is required. So that I think I'll cover most probably during the challenges section. So when we use these tools, I would say in conjunction with the test automation frameworks, um, test professionals can automate most of their testing processes and increase the levels of testing efficiency and accuracy. So now covering some of the industry-wide ChatGPT and AI tools. The first one being ChatGPT is already out, right? So what is CodeGPT? I'll just address that quickly. It is a Visual Studio Code extension. It is by OpenAI, and you can just simply install that extension on VS Code if you're using, and it basically uses behind the scenes API calls of ChatGPT, which ChatGPT 3.5, I believe, where you just query it and it will create that particular code. So I'll just quickly summarize, since most of you all would be interested to try out these tools. So when we talk about GPT-4, it is OpenAI's most advanced system, which produces safer and more useful responses. But I'm not sure most of you must have heard of this or not, but it is a state-of-the-art language model developed by Google that is widely used for NLP, like question answers or sentiment analysis. Talking about GitHub Copilot, it is an AI-powered code suggestion tool developed by GitHub itself that uses machine learning to generate code snippets and also suggest improvements. And CodeGPT, it's similar tool to GitHub Copilot, which also uses the GPT technology. It helps to generate the code based on natural language descriptions that are provided for the desired functionality. Talking about Watson Assistant by IBM. So that can be used to build conversational interfaces for a wide range of applications. Amazon Comprehend, that's another language processing tool developed by Amazon that can be used for tasks like sentiment analysis again, entity recognition, and also language detection. There's another tool which I've not covered here. I just remembered, that's Microsoft Lewis, or Louis, as you may call, a language understanding tool developed by Microsoft that can be used to build conversational interfaces for bots or various other applications. Then there's Hugging Face that I've covered, which is another open source platform which provides a wide range of pre-trained models and tools for NLP. There's Wit.ai, another tool developed by Facebook that can be used to build conversational interfaces for bots and various other applications. And I'm sure some of you must have also worked on TensorFlow. Um, Again, that's by Google, and it can be used for a wide range of AI applications. So now talking about all of this about ChatGPT and understanding its applications across industries, across software testing, let's look at some of the best practices. So the very first thing is starting small and focusing on one or two use cases initially to demonstrate the value that ChatGPT and AI will bring in software testing. So just deep diving a bit further into this, to successfully integrate ChatGPT and AI into testing, organizations would um, it's my personal suggestion that organizations should start small and focus on one or two cases initially. So once you understand that value that it's bringing, it is easier to build confidence among testers. Focus on the areas that have potential higher impacts, such as automating the repetitive task or identifying certain patterns in large data sets. And at the same time, it helps you detect defects also early. The next point, ensure that the data used for training and testing the AI models is of high quality and representative of the real world scenarios. So the quality of data used to train and test AI models is obviously critical to the success of ChatGPT and AI in testing. So organizations should ensure that the data is of high quality and it represents real world scenarios to ensure accurate results. Then we talk about using a test automation framework to incorporate ChatGPT and AI. So this, I mean, I've covered this before, but this helps to ensure that using ChatGPT and AI consistently across the testing process helps reduce the risk, and it will indirectly reduce the inconsistencies and errors that you may uh, notice pretty suddenly. So it basically requires a comprehensive testing strategy, which would cover all aspects of the testing process, like test design, test execution, or test reporting as well. Fourth point, develop a strong feedback loop to continuously improve the AI models and testing process. This ensures that ChatGPT and AI are delivering expected results and testing process is optimized. Last but not the least, monitor the performance and effectiveness of ChatGPT and AI regularly to ensure that it is delivering the expected results. So this is, I think, something similar to what you would do when you automate test cases as well. If they're continuously passing over time, I think it's a good time to revisit those. Something similar needs to be done for ChatGPT and AI as well. So it's important to establish certain metrics or KPIs in order to measure the effectiveness of technology and make those necessary adjustments as needed. One point I'll like to add to this, which is ensure ethical use. So the use of ChatGPT and AI in testing raises ethical considerations as well, such as ensuring that the technology is not biased um, and it does not perpetuate discrimination. It's important that it establishes certain guidelines and also behaves in a more responsible and ethical manner. So I think these are some of the top highlights of best practices I would suggest while you're integrating ChatGPT in testing. Looking at the benefits, I'll just quickly cover this. It is improving efficiency and productivity, enhancing the user experience, cost savings for business, scalability, and flexibility. I think this is pretty self-explanatory, so I'll not deep dive. I know folks are already looking for understanding the challenges here. So there are certain challenges, like I said earlier. The very first thing is lack of understanding and knowledge of AI and machine learning among testers. So when we talk about this, it is one of the main challenges in implementing um, ChatGPT and AI for testing is basically the lack of knowledge of AI and ML among testers. They are still getting acquainted with this fundamental or this particular field of technology. So this can lead to resistance towards using ChatGPT in testing and also a lack of trust in the results that these tools generate. And in order to overcome this challenge, organizations I would say would need to invest in proper training and upskilling of their testers in fields of AI and machine learning. When we talk about difficulty in identifying the right use cases, it is another challenge, of course, um, which requires a thorough understanding of the testing process and also the ability to identify areas where ChatGPT and AI can add value. So there are organizations that need to conduct thorough research and analysis to identify the right use cases that should be used to support ChatGPT and AI. Next, integration challenges with existing tools and processes. This can be a bit challenging as it requires collaboration with IT teams and various other stakeholders. But I would again say organizations need to collaborate with the teams and ensure that there's seamless integration with existing tools and processes. Then there could be various data quality and availability issues. I think this is self-explanatory. I'll not deep dive into that. Um, Another important factor is difficulty in justifying the investment for testing to stakeholders. So the most important point is ROI. What is the ROI of having ChatGPT integrated with testing? Is it really going to add a lot of value, or is it going to be an extra spend? So you need to evaluate the build versus buy, the value it is adding, um, and make judgments accordingly. Well, there are some other limitations of ChatGPT as well. Um, like the question came regarding unit testing and if it generates accurate data, accurate results. Is the code going to work in the first queue itself? Not really. Maybe. You need it depends how you query and how you keep training that in order to get the most efficient and accurate data. So the 6 points I highlight here is lack of domain knowledge, factual errors, code errors, biases, limited accountability, and limited context understanding. So I think all these, just to sum it up, ChatGPT is programmed to generate text-based on the inputs that it receives, but it may not fully comprehend the context or intent of that input, which might result in confusion or misinterpretation of that input, and hence that output may also be incomplete. So based on the recent news, also you can see there are certain countries that have started thinking of banning or have come onto certain terms of banning ChatGPT. There's also a lot of organizations or governments that have considered banning certain technologies or tools that they perceive as a threat to their interests or values. When we talk about cyber attacks or spreading hate speech or misinformation, that's where there are cases of various language models, including ChatGPT, that may create certain concerns. So it is important to note that these language models can also have potential benefits, like we saw, to the society in many ways, like in terms of language translations, understanding the sentiment of customers, providing educational resources, content creation, and assisting with medical research. So it is important to recognize that technology is constantly evolving and adapting, and that effective regulation requires ongoing vigilance and adaptation as well. When we look at the future of testing, well, there's a greater adoption of ChatGPT and AI in testing. I'm sure most of us have already seen that. We talk about integration with other technologies, focus on end-to-end testing, and an emphasis on automation. I'll cover this more on the next slide, which talks about the emerging trends in ChatGPT and AI. So we see chatbots and virtual assistants, which will become more intelligent and will be able to understand complex human language better than ever before. So as NLP technology continues to improve, these assistants will become more intelligent and enable testers to use tools that can help in terms of usability, accessibility, and various other regards. Talking about AI-based algorithms, they will become more prevalent in areas such as test planning and execution, defect detection, and test case generation. I've covered this, so not deep diving there. AI-based tools will be used to automate repetitive and time-consuming tasks, of course. And AI will also enable testers to analyze large amounts of data quickly and accurately, which will lead to better decision making and improved test coverage. So I think that's all which that I had for today's session. So just some quick key takeaways that I have um, while I conclude. Revolutionizing testing with ChatGPT and AI is a paradigm shift that will transform the way we approach testing. The use of ChatGPT and AI in testing allows us to identify defects earlier, improve test coverage, and ultimately deliver high quality software faster. ChatGPT and AI are powerful tools that can help testers work smartly, faster, and much more efficiently. By using these technologies, testers can identify defects earlier, improve the test coverage, and ultimately deliver higher quality softwares at a much faster scale. The future of testing with ChatGPT and AI is promising, with many advancements and trends to keep an eye on. Embracing these changes and using them to drive innovation will be the key to the success of testing in the future. As testers, it is important to stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies in the industry and to be willing to adapt to new challenges and opportunities. So I have a quick DIY homework. This is just for you all to self-explore. You can always visit the link chat.openai.com and try out any prompt that you can give ChatGPT. This is just one funny insight that I've just put up over here, so you can just try this. And yeah, that's basically all, folks. Um, I'd like to
Great.
conclude. Yeah, thanks
Thanks,
everyone.
Siddhant. It was a really nice session, and now we open the floor to any kind of questions. Feel free to unmute yourself, anybody who has their question, or simply write write your question in the chat box. We do have some already from the chat box. Siddhant, do you want to take that? Let me. So the recent question, Lakov, I am sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Ask if we have any real work experience using the this example.
So I do have, but it was not part of today's presentation. I can have a more hands-on workshop which I can demonstrate using this. But I can give an example that in one of our projects we are exploring. So we are using Robot Framework as the test framework with Python, and we have integrated it with ChatGPT, and we are using it even more for generating a lot of repetitive test cases that we generally automate. We also have Code GPT. We haven't explored GitHub Copilot, but on Google Sheets, in fact, we also have ChatGPT APIs which are pulling in certain information, which helps a lot in terms of content creation and stuff. There's a project related to WordPress where we are exploring ways where we can create certain posts or create websites for customers or certain blogs based on their perception or their views. And that's where we have implemented ChatGPT and are using testing also, certain test scenarios. Sometimes we don't get sufficient time to come up with test strategies and test plans. So that's where we are also using ChatGPT. I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
We also have questions from Dave. He asked if doesn't OpenAI this allow using ChatGPT to create your ML database to train or validate your own ML models you want to use commercially? Dave, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Sure. So we were thinking about getting help from ChatGPT or GPT-4 to create data we need for training our own models. And I didn't look into this, but I heard that since we want to use our models commercially, we are not allowed to get help from GPT. So so that OpenAI in fact disallows this?
Yes, that is true to some extent because what, as per my knowledge, it is not openly used for commercial applications at the moment. But what I've heard is a lot of organizations are using their, or rather, are building their own models based on ChatGPT, based on what they have understood about ChatGPT and its use cases. And I think that's the way going forward, at least till a time where these are like openly available for commercial applications. So I mean, there like we looked at certain limitations, certain challenges with ChatGPT. One of the main things is privacy and security, and I'm sure most of the organizations would take that into account. So I think it's right, at least for the first instance, to maybe create your own training model and explore certain use cases, find the right value um, for your use cases, and then see if it I mean there is any possible way to use ChatGPT for those cases. So I hope that answers Dave.
Thank you. Yeah, and I had another question. I don't know if it's too time consuming to show here. I would be very interested in some. You mentioned that for some forms of queries or prompts, your test generation worked well. And since I experimented quite a lot and didn't get it to work satisfactorily, do you have a pointer, or could you add it to your presentation or something? Just some prompt examples that you found work well.
So you want me to add it to my presentation while sharing, or
Yeah, I mean, you said we will be able to download the presentation from tomorrow or whenever. So if you could add some concrete examples for prompts that work well for you, that would be highly appreciated. That would be very
sure,
valuable for me.
absolutely,
Thanks.
absolutely, I can do that.
Great. Thanks a
Sure.
lot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. We also have a question from Viviana. What about users' information confidentiality? All the conversations we go through ChatGPT, for examples, are saved. What do you know about the guarantees provided regarding the protection of this information?
I think it's a very good question. So I think I would say it. I may not be able to comment on this. I may not be the right person, um, because right now also, if you talk about Google, whatever conversations you may be having in your room, Google is listening. So I'm not sure if you have heard that. There was a case filed earlier. It went through the court, consumer forums and stuff. But this was the case with Google as well. So it is very possible that maybe OpenAI is saving this data. How accurate, how you can say, how safe is it? I may not be the right person right now to answer that, because I think your legal team, your compliance team should get in touch with the right folks, and maybe they would be the right ones to take that call. So yeah.
All right. Do we have any more questions? I think there's a lot of requests from people to have a demo. We'll probably pull in Siddhant another time for a separate demo session where Siddhant will be again having to speak about the whole thing that you just talked about, and also give a demo in real life. So we are all looking forward to it. I hope you agree to speak in the next events as well, Siddhant.
Absolutely, Pura. Looking forward to that.
Great. I think with that, that'll be all for today. If there are no more questions, then let's meet again in the next meetup.